What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today, I'm going to be doing a reaction, and I'm going to be reacting to a reaction. How about that? 23 and 1. 23 and 1 is an OG prison channel. One of the best, one of the biggest out there. I haven't seen his stuff for a while, and that's just because I don't really watch anyone in the prison genre anymore. But I saw this pop up on my feed, and it has to do with the whole Prisneyland thing out here in California. Valley State Prison, which used to be the women's prison, used to always be the women's shoe. Used to also be the women's shoe. It was switched over to a men's prison, and it's an experiment. They're doing an experiment there. I think a needed experiment. And what interested me in reacting to this reaction is that Josh, the host of 23 and 1, he's an ex-convict. He's one of the formerly incarcerated. And I was never in a Prisneyland type of incarceration. I never had that, right? I know what California prisons are like, and I always like to hear what other people have to say about California prisons. So, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and check this out, and let's see what Josh has to say. Let's see the program itself, and let's see if he and I differ in our opinions on this approach or not.
Welcome, everybody, to another prison tour episode of Lockdown 23 and 1.
Shout out to 23 and 1. Shout out to Josh. What camera are you using, Josh? First of all, look at how clear look at how clear it is for him. And then look at my camera. That's why he's one of the big dogs.
That's right. Today, we're going to be jumping into a notorious California prison. But it ain't what you might think, all right? A lot of people know that when I say notorious, chances are that prison's had a lot of bloodshed. But this one's notorious for a totally different reason. Valley State Prison in California, nicknamed Prisneyland. Why would they blend prison and Disneyland together? It's because this place is just as sweet as the theme park. I'm just playing, man. But look, it is sweet for a prison. When I say sweet, meaning it is very nice, safe, cozy. You can do your time probably without ever looking behind your back in this prison. So let's get right into it.
I personally don't know of any jail setting where anyone in their right mind would ever let their guard down. I mean, he's probably just, messing around, but just for those squares out there, don't ever do time, no matter where you are, and let your guard down. You could be in the softest of soft places, but you don't know what another man is going through. All it takes is a bad letter, a bad phone call, or a break in somebody's mental facilities, and next thing you know, somebody's jumping on you with a hell of a weapon, and you slipped. He got you.
So if you enjoy this type of content, all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos and prison tours for you to start watching today. All right, here we go. Valley State Prison, aka Prisneyland. And I'm not gonna lie, with this overhead view, I know exactly what ride I'm going to first.
From a distance, it's exactly what you would expect. Big fence, barbed wire, and of course, gun towers, like a prison postcard or something.
So it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're about 10 minutes away from going inside to Valley State Prison, supposedly one of the most progressive prisons in all of the country. The nickname is Prisneyland, although from the outside, it looks pretty standard.
Just imagine if every prison was super progressive like this, man. A lot of people probably wouldn't mind going back. I feel as though a lot of violence and strenuous situations is what keeps them at home in the living room playing that PS5. They don't want to.
hold on.
Go back. But if it was like Prisneyland, trust me, many more people probably welcome the opportunity to head back there.
So let me just say this. Violence begets more violence. Programming begets more programming. People who get to go to Valley State to this type of program, if you go and you I don't know if there's a graduation or I don't know what it is, but if you go there and you parole from there and you're just dumb enough to go back to prison, I highly doubt you get to go back to Valley State. I don't think it's a revolving door for those that just keep reoffending. They tried, big dog. Go on and sit with the tough guys and figure yourself out. I would think that's knowing the way the CDC is. I would think it's not easy to get into this prison, and so anyone thinking like, "Oh shit, man, it's rough out here," I would rather go sit in there with a bunch of men. You probably have some issues within your head, but let's go.
From the outside, it looks pretty standard, but we'll see what the inside looks like. Let's go. Thank you.
Typical sliding
Right inside,
gates.
not much difference.
This is the deadly high voltage electric fence, apparently. Obviously, don't want to touch this.
But the
Yeah.
more you get to know Prisneyland, which officials say some locals refer to it as, you realize the first barriers coming down aren't actually physical.
The greatest achievement of the human spirit is to live to one's potential and make the most of one's opportunities. Hey, imagine walking into the penitentiary and seeing that. Not to mention that beautiful beach painting. I'd ask the CEO, where's the warm milk and cookies, man, to go with all this? Nah, but look, even in dangerous, violent prisons, they got beautiful murals on the wall or quotes that.
San Quentin is known for its mural in the chow hall. Now it's a lower level prison, but the mural's been there for a very long time. I believe it was made with shoe polish. I'm not sure, but the paintings on the wall don't dictate the violence in someone's heart. We got to remember that.
Could seem very nice, but no one in the whole prison's living up to them. All they're doing is gutting and extorting, you know what I mean? So don't let the paintings and the quotes fool you.
Barriers coming down aren't actually physical.
And as we were talking, we don't really call them inmates here.
Incarcerated individuals.
Incarcerated individuals.
And that's where the differences between this prison and others around California just begin. When people get out, they have extreme difficulties finding a job. And while the data varies state by state, about half end up back in custody within a few years. All of that is why officials say the Golden State is trying to move in a new direction, starting a pilot program at 2 facilities with the goal to replicate the results in Scandinavia, where Norway says reforms over the last 2.5 decades have brought down the rate of reoffending within 2 years to only 20%.
As you can see, they're getting their little model of prison structure from Norway. But this is why I think numbers from another country don't mean nothing to ours. I can almost guarantee the gang life and the type of individuals over there in Norway is a bit different from us. Everybody has a different way of life and where they grew up. You know, I'm pretty sure that over there in Norway, there ain't too many boroughs or gang-filled neighborhoods. You step in there with the wrong colors, you're getting shot. But I could be mistaken. There are violent, despicable individuals everywhere on earth. I'm just saying at whole, I don't think that they can really make it like Norway, even with the same kind of prison structure, because the inmates are totally different. Just my 2 cents, though. Let me know if you agree in the comment section below.
So let me go ahead and I'll say whether I agree or disagree. And let me just start with this. He's 100% right. Josh is 100% right that Norway doesn't face the same type of problems that, let's just pick 2 states here, Chicago and California. Let's pick those 2 states. As far as the gang activity, the history of gang violence, Norway doesn't have that. However, I would assume that there is addiction involved in the criminality in Norway. I would assume that, right? Whether that addiction is to substances or alcohol, it is an addiction. And what most people don't realize And I'm lucky enough that because I did have a life sentence, that I was able to find out, and this is what helped me change my way of thinking and my way of living and my way of dealing with people, is I had a lifestyle addiction. And it's a true story. It is a true addiction. I didn't do drugs or drink unless I was with the homies. And then even then I didn't really do, I smoked some weed, I would try some coke now and then. And that was about the extent of my drug use. And again, is if I was with homies and they had it, like, all right, homies, yeah, I'll do some with you. My addiction was to the lifestyle, the gangbanging lifestyle. So if you create a program where people understand what led them to that addiction, regardless if it's a lifestyle, if it's a substance, or if it's alcohol, that is a plus. And that is where you can kind of get back in line with the Norway Project. The getting to the bottom of what happened in your life to make you turn to the streets, to a bottle, to a needle, whatever it was. Something happened in your life at a young age that made you feel like that's where the love was going to be. That's where you were going to be fulfilled. That's where you're going to get strength, security, whatever it was. So in that part there, the Norway Project can be applied. If you have willing participants who get involved, who really want to get to the bottom of it, it could be very successful.
Much lower than here in the US. They've also decreased the prison population significantly and have helped people reincorporate into society after they serve their time.
Great.
You have a key to your own cell.
Yeah, everybody have their own key.
Authorities here say the most important thing they're trying to change at Valley State Prison is how it feels.
This is the central courtyard.
Yeah.
I feel very peaceful just looking at it.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Am I recording?
A lot of prisons in California, not all of them, but a lot of prisons don't have grass. They have dirt. They have dirt and rocks. But, you know, even then, there's always little spots of grass here and there, even in the prisons that don't really have grass. And I remember when I was mentoring other lifers, and I would ask them, hey, do we have grass on the yard? And all of them would be like, nah, hell no. There's no grass out there. I said, when you get a chance, you go to yard today, pay attention to how much is out there. And you're going to be surprised at just how much you see. And it's the little things, because we pay attention to the ugly parts. And I used to tell them, it might be some hippie shit, but once you see it, you never unsee it. You're always going to notice, like, damn, there is a lot of grass. It's really not a lot, but it's a lot compared to what you thought it was. Anyways, that was just a little hippie thing for me. This looks beautiful.
You're on, man.
Officials told us the only way to truly understand the reforms is by coming and experiencing them.
One of the principles of the California model is normalization. And the idea is we want to make the environment inside our institutions as normal as possible, with the goal of not releasing somebody who's institutionalized, but releasing citizens back to the community who have practiced normal pro-social behavior.
All right, let's backtrack it just a second here. They have their own key
Crazy.
to their cell. I mean, every prison, if you're to ask me, should have this. You would never have to worry about someone running up in there stealing all your stuff. I can't even imagine being in prison and not worrying about a thief. But at the same time, man, some of the prisons I've seen, a lock or not, as soon as you get to your door to go into the cell, some guys will be sitting right there. Open up the door, bro, and give me everything you got, or else.
So real quick before he gets too far with it, over here at Jailhouse Thief is probably just above a sex offender. Like, you get caught stealing. I remember I was on a yard and somebody kept stealing tumblers, right? And I remember there was a time where dudes were specifically leaving tumblers, and they were setting dudes in different areas of the Southerners area, and their whole job, the whole yard, was to keep an eye on the tumbler. That's how bad they wanted to get the dude and kill him over a state tumbler. Just to let people know, this is what the fuck happens. You don't steal from nobody. And so what he's saying here as well, as far as people waiting at your door, that is the difference between California politics and every other state. Ain't nobody in California going to come up to your cell and be waiting for you like, hey, open your door, Holmes. We're taking that. It's not happening. If that's the case, they're just going to whack you. You're taking up the space of somebody that could be helping that whatever faction, whatever organization is doing that. They don't. There's a saying, at least for the Southerners, there's no such thing as dead weight. If you are not being productive in some type of criminal way for them, you're dead weight. You got to go. You're taking up space. We need somebody else. They're gonna say they need someone else to get up in that bunk and be productive.
We'll skin you alive right here and then take the key and open it ourselves. Right? Which one you gonna take? So I don't know if the key is that helpful in many situations that I've seen, but it would help, I think, in the long run dramatically. Also, as you can see, it looks like they have some kind of auto mechanic school, which is amazing. You know, you don't get that very often in prison. And if you do, there's a waiting line from here to Kingdom Come. And keep this in mind as well. If you're a violent offender, you ain't getting none of this. If I were to guess, ain't not one of these guys in here for a violent crime. If that's so,
in California, that's not true. They do. So this Prisneyland thing is newer, but the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, when they started, it's been at least 10 years now that you could be a convicted murderer and have access to plumbing, to auto body, to auto mechanics. There was some kind of computer classes. There's different stuff in different prisons. You can look it up. Actually, you can research the different California prisons. Look for the level 4s and the programs that they offer, and you'd be surprised. A lot of this stuff is in maximum security prisons.
I'd be completely surprised.
Of not releasing somebody who's institutionalized, but releasing citizens back to the community who have practiced normal pro-social behavior.
What about the argument that somebody might see this and say, well, isn't part of the goal punishment in some way?
Oh, there you go.
Why give them all of this nice stuff?
So I would say that people go to court to be punished. That's up to our judges and our juries. And when they come into our institutions, our goal is to basically help them become better citizens. So with that in mind, we are not in the punishment business.
Wow. So did any of that make sense to y'all? The courts are here to punish them and sentence them to prison. But over here, when they finally arrive in prison, we're not here to punish. Makes absolutely no sense. But I understand where he's coming from. Okay, trying to make these guys into normal, law-abiding citizens and to go back into public feeling normalized. Not like some people, they'll come out of prison, go to a Cracker Barrel and see all the knives and forks and say, man, I could kill everybody with all these shanks, right? They want you to go out to the streets feeling like you've never been locked up. And I understand that. Like I said, you make it too sweet for people, they will guarantee be coming back.
We're in the
Wow. I'm shocked. Incarceration should never be punishment. Incarceration should be rehabilitation. See, the model in California, when I entered the California Department of Corrections, there was no rehabilitation whatsoever. Even when they put that R on the end, I don't ever say that I was in the CDCR. That's not what I entered into. I entered into the California Department of Corrections. When they put the rehabilitation on the end, they still weren't really in the rehabilitation business. They are now. There are attempts at it now, but I don't know any other prison system. I do know California's prison system. And as I was saying, when I entered the system, your job was basically get you a knife, make you a knife, go out to the yard every day. Rain, sleet, snow, blazing heat, it doesn't matter. Take your fucking ass out there. And if something jumps off, kill the first motherfucker you can. And if you can't, at least try. Cool your ass, take your ass out to the yard and hang out. And if somebody messes up with your own people and they ask you for a favor, go and try to smoke that guy too. That was programming. That was what California was. Nobody was going home. Everybody knew you get a life sentence in California back then, that was the slow death penalty. You were going to die on the yard, in a cell, in the chow hall, wherever it was, you were dying in prison. And so what do you think people were doing? They were gangster. They didn't have time. That's why all the politics that you hear about in California, all the no hands policies, and some people make comments like, yeah, that's pussy shit. Nah, they don't have time for your little petty emotions, your little petty ego, and your little petty feelings. You're around men that were never going to get out, and if you step out of line, they're just going to kill you. Now you have people that are being given an opportunity to figure out why they justify that type of thinking and those type of actions. Remember that the punishment that we get from the judge is because of decisions that we willingly chose to make. So we get sentenced by the courts. But when people enter into the California Department of Corrections, 80% of them return to back to society. And we can't keep that little cycle where it was, they go in and they sit there for 8 years, 10 years, and they just become way more sophisticated in the criminality and then go back into the communities. That was a failure. That was actually something that was taken advantage of out here. A lot of people don't understand that. That was a great thing to have that revolving door. Billions and billions and billions of dollars being poured into the Department of Corrections, and those billions weren't all being used for corrections. Where did they go? That's another video, different video, but no, this makes absolute sense to me what this guy said. And we need more wardens like that in California, and we need more wardens like that across America. Give these guys the opportunity and incentive to program, and those that don't want to, there's a prison yard for that too. That's how California is. There's a prison yard for everything out here. Whatever you want to be, they got a spot for you. Enjoy yourself.
Rehabilitative business.
I found it. Damn,
Part
VR.
of that rehabilitation, a wide array
They got VR concerts, horseback riding. What's this in the bottom left corner?
of programs where the population learns a variety of coping and calming skills.
And she is a good horse.
Did you know you were
Wow.
going to be grooming horses in prison?
No, to be honest, I thought I'd be stuck in a cell, maybe a few rehabilitation groups, but
I would absolutely love to be taking care of a horse in
Mhm.
prison. Man, I don't think y'all understand. I love petting those horses' lips. Things get to wiggling. Look, I remember my buddy. He was a rich buddy of mine. Believe it or not, his dad was into the politics and things. Richest friend I probably ever had. But he was my best friend's cousin, right? So we surfed all the time together. And we would go back to his house sometimes and have a good time. And one of my favorite things to do, he had a horse in the backyard. Yeah, a horse. So I would try to feed him. And one time I didn't know he had like a little thing on his leg because the horse was injured. And I was, trying to feed him and I was getting him to run by the injured leg. And the lady came running out the house. Who got that f***ing horse to run? I dropped that hay and walk away. I think that was the last time I ever went to that place. But good times, man. I love that horse lips. So I'm definitely backing this idea. I'd hop on that jank and ride right out the walls.
And that is a great thing. Horses are very calming. Children who have certain issues, there's programs where they have them working with horses, and horses calm them down and really help them out. But for those of you that don't know, there's convicts that they will buy, if they can't catch it themselves, they will buy a snake off you if you can catch one on the yard, a lizard off you, tarantulas, sparrows. It's like the only time you can have something that depends on you and gives you some kind of value, man. They're not going to admit that's what it is. They don't even know that's what it is, but it's a sense of love that you don't get from anything or anyone else inside those walls. I don't know. I'm not going to go much longer because I don't want to do his whole video here. I want you guys to go ahead and watch his video and give him a view. Tell him I sent you too. Thank you. But we'll go a couple more minutes. Let's see.
helps me, cope with with, you know, a lot of stresses I deal with, you know, day to day here in prison.
Those
The hope
glasses
is that creating
are
a more
progressive.
positive environment makes the men locked up here more willing to rehabilitate.
They got Halo servers in here? Jeez. Oh, man. Sign me up. I'm just playing, man. It's probably like some questionnaires for math or something. I don't know. They got panels on the side like them SOLs. Can't be rubbernecking nobody. But, man, looking at all these wires like this is getting me a little panicky. They need to get an IT guy in there to straighten shit out.
Rehabilitate. Of the total incarcerated population of 3,000 here, the prison says 2,400 are enrolled in training or education programs, including high school and college.
This day is the first day of the rest of our lives. We can start our day at any time.
When you came in and you saw what this was, what was your impression?
I thought I was going to come to prison and get worse, but coming to prison actually saved my life.
Wow. Say it again.
Coming to prison saved my life.
Since they started running these programs in 2017, Valley State Prison says it's
2017 is when it opened. That's the year I paroled.
reduced violence compared to other peer facilities.
And you know, I'm not gonna lie, I used to say that all the time, man. Prison saved my life, but that ain't what saved me. It was me, myself, and my good father above that gave me the strength to say no to all that bullshit that can land me back.
Let's end that there. Send that on a good note. I agree with them. Hopefully everybody can get to that point, right? It doesn't always happen that way, but that's the hope. Me personally, I feel like this Prisneyland thing is a great thing, man. It's a great idea. I believe it will be a success. California being California, there will be someone to slide in now and then that just won't fit in, and he'll find himself where he needs to be based on his actions. But those that earn the opportunity to be there, congratulations. And I'm sure the success rate will be high, not just there in Valley State, but also in society. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. Almost messed up there.